Here's it.
This is just a rehearsal.
Hola, hola. Yeah, I'm not sure why there's no audio on this thing.
Well, I
Hey,
mean, good
Chickies, you
thing
want
they
to start
told
this thing
us.
on your end?
Because
Because, I mean, it's been like 3 months since I've done this, so I'm not sure if this is going to work or not.
All right. Yeah, I can do that.
yeah, take two.
The mute button.
We're in.
The mic on.
All right. Thank you for you two gents for alerting us.
We apologize, listeners. We were using Chivas TV equipment.
Yeah, they're leftover technology.
The modem.
Let me
The
see if I
modem
can.
just engaged.
It did. We are connected. We are connected.
We are live. All right, let's go, guys. Let's go. 2020.
That is good news. But
Starting it off.
But before I continue, I think Jaime just and I was trying to find it. But for your insolence.
Is that so? Who made you pope of this dump, huh?
So let's just there's buttons that need to get pushed on these things. All right. So glad to have Chickies with us. Looks like we're having audio again. I think this is a discussion that I think we can have a little later because I do think that we need to get right into the into the heart of the matter, which is the upcoming, which starts I think like Friday, like tomorrow, right?
Starts tomorrow.
So that's what cracks me up about Mexican soccer, especially when after the first one, it's like okay, you're upset your team is out. You have 3 weeks for the next one. So can you really be that upset? I mean seriously.
Was it even 3 weeks? I feel like the final was on the 29th.
Yeah,
and we're
exactly. So it's like 2
kind
weeks.
of your Cruz Azul, and then if you're Atlas, because that's too much fail to like.
This is going to be an exciting season because there's no what's it called? No hay descenso.
That's been the case for a long time.
Give you a sigh of relief. No descenso for your team, or.
I can watch my Chivas in peace, bro. I don't have to worry about going down with the ship this season.
You just supposedly pay $6 million, which nobody knows if you really do pay.
Descending after paying all that money for those players, dude.
Oh yeah, I'm sure part of the
because Chivas has spent what like $75 million on players over the past
45.
No, I think it's more than that.
I don't think they got to 70 though, John.
No, they didn't get to 70. Unless you're talking about under the table.
Well, okay, so how much was Pulido? He was what, like 15 or whatever it was, right?
He got sold for like 9 million. 9 million.
Well, how much did Chivas pay? What was the number that said?
Oh wait, you mean?
I know we paid about 12 million for 3 players from Necaxa.
Yeah, but I'm talking about like just over
12 or 20.
Like since the big signing, which is the Pulido signing, that was about 15, and then it was Pizarro, which was what, about 20.
Pulido was around 17,
was like 20. No, I think
20.
20.
All right, so right there, there's 35 million.
Pizarro about 18. But I mean, what these guys have to do with it?
We're talking about right now the latest transfer window.
I mean, honestly, did they make that kind of commitment so that these guys would no longer be on the team? That's my point.
Well, see, that's. I mean, Pulido did stay. Like he did stay long enough. Pizarro's the only one, and there's always been talk that Chivas never outright owned him. That they still owed money to Pachuca, which is why they sold him.
Okay, so there is no descenso, and Chivas actually looks like a team that, is gonna go from the menos a más, is what it looks like. One would expect, one would hope. And you know what is to me just a massive indictment of how bad Chivas has been for since they won their title, and then with the slump that they had under Mati moving forward from that point on. Chivas, how many Liga MX players are there in Liga MX that play on a regular basis that are Chivas? About 30, would you say? In the entirety of Liga MX? Between 30 and 40?
Wait, what was the question?
How many Mexican like Mexican players have in Liga MX have played consistently week in, week out outside of Chivas on the other 17 teams? About 50 players.
It's hard to say.
But
Oh, you mean the lesser sized pool of Chivas options as far as
no,
players?
no, no. What I'm saying is
Good question.
the indictment on Chivas is that they're the team. They play Mexicans at every position. And for none of them, and for so few of them over the past 5 years to be chosen to go to the national team. I mean, it just hasn't happened, and that should be just a terrible indictment on how bad Chivas has been in that period in the last 2 or 3 years.
Oh, I see what you mean. You're saying that we haven't produced much in the last couple of years.
Yeah. And they've
Which
had
is
that, I mean,
which
let's be
you're not
honest.
wrong about.
Let's be honest. I mean, Chivas has had the guys, and Tena there, I think, is going to be great for Chivas. But the question is, and this is always the case with Chivas, is, are we going to see a team that isn't just constantly
Continuity?
yeah, exactly, just constantly just wrapped up in chaos and.
Well,
You know,
I'll tell you
and-
this:
and-
the
and-
game on Saturday against Juarez is a must-win. Like these guys got to start winning off the gate with a lot of goals, or else the media is just gonna destroy us. Because the second the team doesn't start producing, this can get ugly really fast. So I know that Peladas they've done a great preseason, getting everybody prepared. They did all the signings super early in the off season. So like, I honestly think that this game on Saturday is going to set the tone for the rest of the season, and it's a must win for Chivas at home. A must win.
So it sounds to me, Jaime, that if Chivas doesn't win and the season is lost and it's over, you sound like Joel did like 3 years ago when he suggested to Chivas fans to go on loan for the season because Chivas was not going to be very good. A couple of so are you suggesting that if Chivas does not win, that Chivas fans should go out on loan and maybe go root for Querétaro for a season because things aren't going to work out?
I just think that for the amount of money that we spent, and like the hype, there was more talk about what Chivas were doing behind the scenes than there was about the Liga MX final. They were just
I wouldn't know about that, but please.
Yeah, all that. Everybody just kept talking about Chivas Galacticos and all that. So there's a lot of high expectations.
They were throwing the term Galactico around.
Yeah, they were. And it's just like, I don't know if it's just the media trying to hype us up.
Let me ask you this: Are these also the same people that when things don't go well for Chivas react this way? would it be the same ones? Would it be the same ones?
I think we can all agree that like journalism now is like, basically it's yellow journalism.
So,
they build you up one day and then they destroy you the next day. That's just how it is.
Refresh our memories. What incredibly talented players did Chivas sign in the offseason that caused such an uproar that a final between two major cities decided by penalties took a back seat?
I got to answer the door, but I'll have some of the Chivas hermanos answer that question.
So it's people that are so massively talented that poor Jaime doesn't know who they are, is what it sounds like to me. Joel, you're a closeted Chivas fanatic. Yeah, you say you don't watch, but we know you keep up. Who are these magical players that Chivas have brought in? I think we've lost Joel, Chiquis.
Yeah. How about it?
So I'm being this here because I've been doing I've been like in basketball, in a basketball world for the past 2 weeks. So I have no idea what I is talking about. I'll be honest, because I just
There's that Chivas is bringing back, I guess from the top down, AJ
Well,
Macias
JJ Macias, but he'd be okay. So, but they didn't sign him. That he came back
back.
from a loan.
Gallito.
Gallito Vasquez, who they should have never have gotten rid of in the first place, and who
Reaching
is
for
on the back end of his career. Okay.
career, yeah. Jota, I guess you could say he's up and coming. He's played
Well,
with a national team in the Nations League and sort of like scoring some goals there against some lesser quality.
well, I mean,
So you have
it's
that
obvious.
guy.
It's obviously that out of those two, I would expect that JJ would be the one that people would be excited about. Now, interrupt the final excited. Let's not kid ourselves. Let's not kid ourselves there. By the way,
It's just a
I
bunch
thought
of
the
them.
final both finals were terrific. The first leg and the second leg, I thought they were incredibly entertaining. Good games, good teams. Players making huge plays when the time came, and then the penalties.
But if you were to like national team, if it was a World Cup year, I don't think any of these players would be on the starting lineup of the Mexican national team. And we're talking about Chivas. Of course, there's European players and stuff, but wouldn't at least one be on the Chivas team?
But that's my point. Is it in the even through the Osorio years? I mean, they just were never. You would think that if
Yeah,
Chivas
I
was
mean,
playing well, that they would be the base of a national team. One would expect that would be the case. But
the only player that I would argue that should have been called up that wasn't was Pulido, especially last season. I think he deserved more merit than Alexis Vega, in my opinion.
But I'm talking starters, though, man. This is Chivas. You got to look as a Chivas fan. You got to look higher than that, than like barely making the team. I'm talking starters.
Oh, starters? No, we don't have anybody.
well, they're the other
Like
players.
we don't really have too many options in the back.
So Uriel Antuna, who had a decent year at Galaxy, a Santos product, and then Chicote, who I think actually I'm very high on. I think he's a really good player, and he was one that came from Necaxa, who are starting to figure out the Santos way of doing business, and it's looking like it's going to start paying off for them. There at I have a question for all three of you. If you're from Aguascalientes, ¿qué eres?
You're one of those clubs that you're a feeder club.
No.
You're like the
I'm asking
Oakland.
like someone from Aguascalientes, someone who lives in Aguascalientes. They are I'm in Texas. I'm a Texan.
Cálido.
A what?
Hidrocálido.
That's right. Hidrocálido. That's exactly right. That is one of my favorite state nationality terms. Los hidrocálidos. Anyway, so Chivas is so now again. I asked the question. Those are good signings. It's not like stop the world signings, but Chivas looks to be in a good spot. They have Joel, but it seems to me, Joel, that all these players were important. It seems like to me that the signing that Chivas fans should be most excited about Joel is Ricardo Peláez.
It is, and we've been praising him here
for years.
When he was at America, and but this one I remember the most when the Americanistas were on him because of that really bad Centenario they had, and they blamed him for the plagiarized song and for the lack of a high-profile friendly against them.
The plagiarized song.
And for not signing any top players. And they were just coming down on him hard without realizing what he was doing. And I do think ultimately the downfall and I'm beginning to see it, because a lot of us are beginning to see it. It's they're going back to their old ways as far as transfer policy, and then just like the way they don't seem prepared to cover certain spots. They seem that they're going to have that problem again. And I do think ultimately that's going to hurt them. You saw them it hurt them a bit last season. And I think big reason they haven't let go of Piojo because he's been a miracle.
You know, Joel, I asked you about Chivas, and I gave you a chance to speak about Peláez, and all you did was talk about Club America. So you're sick, Joel.
No, I had to because it
Oh,
highlights what he was doing with them, and when we started like saying, no, this what he's doing is really good. The signings he's doing, the team's consistency, and then he took that to Cruz Azul, and that one directivo, Guillermo, went and just took a dump all over everything he did.
I mean,
And
Guillermo Vasquez he's a mediocre
Hold
coach.
here's the final slap in the face. Peláez wanted Turco, and they said no, and then that's when they put it.
Hey, but
Turco
he had time
to
though.
league. Huh?
He had time in Cruz Azul, man. So he didn't totally,
He did
live
good
up to his
stuff.
expectation.
He took him to a final. They won. They won a title. I forgot which one it
They won
was.
the Copa
The
MX.
league. Didn't they win the leagues also? Or who was that?
The Conca Champions. No, that was before Peláez.
Was it?
Yeah, that was way before.
There was more expected,
Oh
I
no,
think.
after. It was after because he didn't get to. He quit before the final. I think Boldi won it.
But we're talking about Cruz Azul here,
Oh, you're
a
talking
team
about
that hasn't won a title.
the prestigious Leagues Cup.
Hey, the thing is to win because I mean, you're a top team. You at least want to be winning.
Well,
And you never know.
Hang on a second.
America counted a Prode as a title. You never know.
Let's not forget the
Somebody sleep,
dynamic in Cruz Azul that Peláez had to fight, and obviously it was a battle that he was never going to win, and it was what's the name of the promoter that's been in bed with Cruz Azul for forever?
Hurtado.
Carlos Hurtado. That's why Peláez left Cruz Azul, because as you have noted, Joel, Peláez puts players in holes, and he rarely, like that guy that Joel, that you thought was going to be this great striker, and you had high hopes in Cruz Azul. Polo was the guy from Argentina.
He's a midfielder.
Polo Fernandez,
Yeah,
that was going to come in at the beginning of the year, who hasn't done. I mean, he makes
Well, I mean, he just
Cauterucho
arrived.
Quemado look like Norberto
No,
Otis.
come on. He just arrived. He was injured,
I get that.
and then he
My
had like some
point
family issues.
does that sound like a move that Peláez would make, or would he go get a Furch?
Yeah, he would have gone.
He would have gone to
after
get the
Furch.
Furch. Is it in Cruz Azul moves were made that were not his style of move, is what I'm saying, which to me tells me that he didn't necessarily have as much of the control of player personnel as he did
same
at other
problem
places.
he had at America. He ended up falling off with Pepe Romano. And that was part of it too, the trend.
Yeah, exactly. So he won't have that problem at Chivas because the player pool is a little thin. So it's going to be interesting to see.
We have a great pool, man. What are we talking about? Are you talking about transfers?
He means to choose from, like all over
Yeah.
the league. Like there's
Right.
only like
He can only
150
choose
players.
Mexicans.
Yeah,
when
that's
he's
true.
in Cruz Azul, he can choose whatever he wants. That there's a difference. And let's face it, there's in Liga MX you're half Mexican or half foreign. Most teams.
The thing is, though,
60%.
Peláez is going to the biggest. He's at the biggest club in Mexico, and it's going to be easier to win a title at Chivas than it was at Cruz Azul.
Doblete, Jaime, doblete.
Oh my God! Oh my God! So we have a title and we're going to do the predictions, and you guys are already throwing it down.
Yeah.
Wow.
Predictions starting with Copa MX
Well, hang on a
is
second.
going to belong to
Hey.
Chivas.
John, did I not tell you I spotted the comment 2020? It's on Twitter, man. I saved it.
You
I
have
saved
your own
Chivas comment 2020.
you have your own hashtag. You have marketed a hashtag. You stole my idea, Joel. Is that what you're telling me? Next thing I know, you're going to steal my trophy chasers too.
No, I
You-
always
you-
give credit.
You're going to
credit's
become a
due.
trophy chaser, and you're gonna steal that from me too. Come on, Joel.
Oh man.
See now that you're a
Hey.
father, your priorities are different. You got to. I understand you're just doing it for little Bofo, little Bofito. Was it? Isn't that his name? Was it Jose Manuel Adolfo Nestor Aceves? Is that?
Spot on, man. Spot on.
So
we're gonna do
the Chivas Comet is gonna make an appearance then in 2020. Is it gonna make an appearance in the early part of 2020 or in the later part of 2020, or twice?
Could be either or, man. I was expecting it at the later part, but now this first part, I wouldn't be surprised. And I didn't get to answer your earlier question about why they were taking all this attention with some of these signings that they don't seem that big. But these are all players that have won finals. The Pachuca guy, the former Chivas, he's the guy that beat Monterrey with the header in the last minute.
So did they have to buy him back? They had to buy him back from Pachuca?
Well, yeah, but he's
Yeah,
back.
they did.
But I mean, he's a player that's won. You've got Don Gallo, who's just a finalist, like every team he goes to. He's like the good luck charm, man. You want, instead of the lucky rabbit's foot, is the lucky gallo foot.
Victor Manuel Vucetich of players.
¿Y por qué te llaman el gallo?
Paul, you're acting like we talked about it earlier when Chivas was called the Galacticos and like the greatest team ever.
I think
You're acting.
no, see,
you're overhyping, man. You're overhyping.
No.
And when they
I'm
fail,
not
you're going to be
overhyping
dissing
them.
hard
That's
on them
right,
like you
that's
have
right.
been.
The
The
thing
last
is,
few
though,
No, man, come on, Chiquis. I'm not overhyping. I'm saying why they're getting hyped, and
You
that's
said they're
why.
going to win. You said they're going to win a title.
You said you're going to win.
You said they're going to win a
I
title.
believe the word doblete.
Of course,
came out of your
I did say that, but that's not overhyping.
They're going to win 2 titles.
Just
They're going to win
stating
2
facts.
titles, but I'm not overhyping them. I'm not overhyping them. They're going to win 2 titles though. Just
that's the expectations,
down.
though.
write it down.
That's the
Hey,
expectations.
They're going to win 2
Look,
titles.
no,
But I'm not.
I'll tell you how. Look, okay, look, I'm gonna tell you. See, I'm not expecting the 3Gs, gustar, golear, and not. But I think they have what it takes just to win, and you only have to win a few games, a few important games to claim those titles. So for like Copa MX, they're already in the final. So if you look at their rivals, they're gonna have an easy bracket, like an easy road.
So
So
not only hang on a second. So not only are you not hyping them by saying that they're going to win a doblete, now you're saying that Copa MX is pan comido. So explain to me again how you're not hyping these guys.
Hey, have I not gotten these predictions right? This is how. Because see, look, to me, Galactico would mean that they're like very dominant. They're whooping teams' asses. You know what I mean? And you don't need in Liga MX. You don't have to be that strong of a team, right, as we've seen because of the 8 teams that get to Liguilla. So as long as you and that squad is good enough to qualify in top 8. So a strong team, just going on the odds. And so if we see what's going on with some of these teams, then you're in a good position because some of them didn't have much of a break. You have some teams like Monterrey that are probably tired, same as with America. And then America didn't get to reposar. So who knows what problem can be caused there. Chivas had the opposite. They had like a super long preseason where it's like Tena comes in. The season was lost, but that's pretty much like his preseason. And then they got this whole summer where Peláez comes in. They get the players right away. And so, I mean, the table's kind of set.
And they looked lively in those preseason games. Yeah, I think Monterrey and America are gassed. And America's losing players, too. They're losing Guido. He's going to Real Betis.
That's something that we've noticed here at the Cantina MX podcast is that the teams that play the final are usually going to be about a month behind everybody else. So it's going to take them at least to the jornada 5 or 6 to even
Mhm.
show what kind of. I mean, if they can get there with like 4 or 5 points, they would be thrilled, honestly.
Yeah. And
I mean,
and
I don't really know who's going to be the biggest threat. Maybe Tigres.
Oh, so prohibit. So just so I'm clear, we're not overhyping, but right now we have prohibitive favorites, two-time champions, and pan comido in Copa Mex. So that's okay.
Yeah, Copa MX, we
Right.
should be in the final. We got Dorados. It's going to be pretty
yeah,
easy.
look at the bracket. Look at the bracket.
And unlike other times, Chivas actually have enough players on each position,
Yes, they do.
like on the bench. Like sometimes we barely had enough of a starting 11 to compete, but now we actually have enough players on the bench that can come in and really change the game, you know?
So are they gonna break? Are we breaking the record for points in the season 2?
Chivas have never been a team that are good at
Winning.
being the top team.
Oh.
Like, as far as being like the most consistent team in the league, like I don't think in the last 10 years they've ever accumulated like the most points. They're just not that type of team, but they're a team that once they get in the playoffs, they win. Whether it's the 8th seed or whatever 6th seed, they just know how to win the games.
Because they've done it so often over the past 40 years.
What's that?
Because they've done it so often over the past 40 years, right? I can see where you get your
Well,
confidence.
the long season format, that's when we won our titles, right? In the 60s.
Yeah, when they were playing the Hijos de Miltepec and like little country club teams like Club Reforma.
My only concern is we got the Olympics coming, and I mean now we're gonna have a bunch of players that are gonna be called up for Olympics, and I'm not a big fan of that.
Why
Let us win some silverware first.
Why are they calling up Chivas players? They're going to call up a youth team for that. They're not going to call up. They're gonna,
From Alexis Vega's, he might get called up.
Well,
we'll see.
That's you might have to take that consideration when it comes to your to y'all's
And
lavish which we will get to. I don't want to give anything away just yet. I don't want to know who you guys are thinking are going to win the title, but we'll see how it plays out. But there are other teams, believe it or not, and I checked this before we came on the show. There are other teams in Liga MX other than Chivas and Club America and Cruz Azul and Pumas. And there's been a debate as to whether or not Cruz Azul and Pumas should be considered in the Cuatro Grandes or whatever. The answer is absolutely yes. And the only reason I say that is because they are clearly the only other teams in Liga MX that have national draws and they have draws up in this country as well. That is why
Mexico City is a big city.
That's why they're the Cuatro Grandes. Well, it's because I always harken it back to when color TV became a thing in Mexico in the early to mid 70s and then beyond. The teams that were the absolute strongest in the league were Cruz Azul, Pumas, and Club America. So they were able to just exponentially add to the legion of fans that they already had because of that. And of course, Chivas already had the popularity because at that time, even though they hadn't it'd been like 12 years since they'd won something, they were still considered obviously a popular team. But that's why they're the Cuatro. It has nothing to do with how many titles they've won or anything. It has everything to do with the fact that when Chivas goes to Necaxa or where they go to Chiapas or when Cruz Azul goes to those places, chances are pretty high that the crowd's going to be pro Pumas and pro Cruz Azul. just like it is when Chivas go, and just like it is when America goes, and that's just the reality. That's why they're the Cuatro Grandes.
So tomorrow it kicks off with Tijuana and Santos at 7 p.m. And then also Morelia Toluca, which Toluca just signed bum Chepo La Torre.
That's right. Chepo's making so we have Santos, who I'm sure are begging for the opportunity to redeem
Bounce back.
themselves after. Well, they caught a really bad break because the 8 team that they caught was a team that was coming in on fire, and as we have said many times on this podcast, teams that usually go into
It's the curse.
winning. Well, it's not necessarily as much that, it's just teams that go into the Liguilla coming on like a 3 or 4 or 5 game win streak usually do really well, regardless of what seed they are, and that's what Monterrey did. And Santos was, they were playing okay, but they just, Monterrey was a sleeping giant the whole season. They just happened to wake up against Santos. So
I think the most impressive thing was Turco being undefeated coming in.
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly right. And I think Santos, honestly, I think if they would have played anybody else in that first round, I think that they would have had a very decent run. They just
Also,
ran into a buzzsaw.
Santos had probably the easiest schedule of any. Not to take any credit, you still have to win those games. But I think that is pretty much made them look stronger than they really were.
Well, they were the team that scored the most goals in the league, 40.
I mean, yeah, they definitely had it going on. They were, and they also didn't like stumble into the Liguilla either. So they have something to prove, and well, I guess they'll get going on that with in the Tijuana, where Oscar Pareja, I think this is sink or swim for him. He might be a candidato to lose his gig before the season's over if they have a slow start.
Wait, what? Didn't Tijuana already sign someone else?
Oh, did they already?
Yes.
They did?
Yes, sir.
So my boys, Oscar is no longer there?
Nope, I think he's back in MLS.
Tijuana. Hold on, I'm gonna check right now.
When I fall into my basketball hole. I just lose all this knowledge. But I'm not gonna lie, Tijuana.
Gustavo Quinteros is their coach.
So they did already get rid of Oscar. Well, that's unfortunate for Mr. Pareja, but I'm glad that Tijuana's in the league because I think it's great to take Liga MX to different parts of the country, and obviously it allows folks.
They're working on getting their stadium. I think they're doing some remodeling on their stadium now.
Well, what they need, they also need to put some a natural surface down.
They can't. It's too hot.
John Pareja's back in MLS.
Is he where
Orlando?
Is he just an assistant?
Orlando City. No, head coach.
Really?
I don't think he was just proven.
That's interesting.
As far as Morelia goes, they lost I mean, they've lost players, so I don't think they're gonna do as good as they did.
I shouldn't say that.
Yeah, they
Morelia is like TV Azteca. They like under TV Azteca to treat a child, and then.
I mean, they're at home tomorrow, so I expect them to beat Toluca because Toluca was.
Oh,
they're still doing really bad. Toluca hasn't won a title in 10 years. Isn't that crazy?
On a downward spiral, and they've made their last desperate attempt to snap out of it. They're bringing in Jose Manuel de la Torre to see if he can be the guy with enough rubber on the soles of his feet to stop this runaway train from going off the cliff.
They did reach a final, though. And we say 10 years, but they reached the final. They lost in Santos.
Yeah, but
Well,
still.
that's not that long. No, but if you're Atlas, you're not even doing.
Has
I mean,
Atlas has Atlas
Atlas.
even been in the Liguilla in 10 years?
The last Liga they were in, I know we eliminated.
I can't. I can't. They played against Chivas, right? They lost.
Yeah, we eliminated them.
Marco Fabian. Man,
Imagine
that
how
must suck.
embarrassing it is
See, like,
for Atlas fans to know that the only people that really have like major hand on them is Chivas.
Of course,
Yeah.
they got two stadiums. They're away. They're on the road twice a
but
season,
you
bro.
know they're very loyal, so
They are
I don't
incredibly
think that
loyal.
much.
I don't know how I could support a team like you know it's bad for Atlas when they celebrate a subcampeonato. They celebrated like the anniversary of the
Oh yeah,
time they
the
lost to
anniversary.
Toluca. Like 20 years ago, bro. They were like, "Oh, look, we were the runners up. We almost beat Toluca 20 years ago." It's been
That's with Rafa Marquez.
But I will say I think the biggest shame with Atlas is it's fine. They don't have to win titles, but at least develop players, man. They used to be known for their cantera, man. You know, at least provide something to the country.
Yeah, well, they're under Grupo Orlegui, but I haven't seen anything on that end. Like to say, okay, they brought in 3 good players.
Like I know Chicote is
Maybe
from Atlas Cantera, no?
no, I mean that like they recently signed, that Atlas has recently signed, and you're like, okay, they mean business. I don't really.
You mean like Rafa Marquez?
No, not to that extent, but
You know, Joel,
They
you
signed that
have
English
like
player.
Santos at least makes, you know, every now and then they'll bring in some.
you know, I feel Joel, you know, every time that we talk about Chivas, you know, we know we have some stuff we can do with them. We have the etc. Right. So I'm thinking that every time that Atlas is mentioned, I think there's only one thing we can play.
Pretty much,
Oh,
yeah.
And I mean that in
yeah.
the highest respect.
So I guess the thing that we can look forward to this season is there's no bye week for a team since Veracruz are no longer part.
Well, what happens in that? Did they redo the schedule to take them out?
Yeah, they're not. They're out, man.
There's not that off week that they used to have.
There used to
Where
be that one team that just
yeah,
play with their
like a
thumbs.
furlough. No,
All right. So, what team do you think is going to surprise you guys the most?
good question.
Chiquis, do you wanna tackle this one?
His team. But I want to
Well,
say
no, it's well, you know what? Atletico San Luis, they did get a good coach.
Yeah, but their
Um,
roster is full of a bunch of
Well, yeah, that's why if there's a
poo.
surprise, it'll come from there.
What happened to Nino
Querétaro already
Torres? I
did
thought they were
well.
going to get him from
That's
Atletico.
that's you're still going after.
Leon or Santos could make some surprises.
But they ended in first and second in place, man. That's not
Yeah,
much of a
You
surprise.
gotta pick somebody that
Like
didn't make
Santos
the
ended in first, Leon ended in second, Diaz ended in third. So you can eliminate those three. Querétaro was fourth. I think that was a surprise last season. Necaxa too.
Except Querétaro were surprises.
Yeah.
Well,
Querétaro, huh?
I was gonna say I don't want to say Pumas, but
Well, I think you should. In fact,
Yeah, I think
I
you should,
encourage.
man.
If it's bringing the players, though, I heard Pulido spent more on his wedding than Puma spent on transfer money.
You know, why do you have to be so mean, Hoyle? Do we ever make fun of Chivas on this show? No, we never do.
Oh, always. I think
Pumas,
because I think the coach. You guys have a good coach, but I mean they haven't
well,
brought anything to help.
in fact, on their Twitter today, Hoyle, if you must know, they did say that they have promoted 7 canteranos to the first team. So uh, we'll see how
Los
they.
refuerzos es la cantera. Where have I heard that before?
Well, in
Their
Pumas' case,
players
it
also.
almost is always true. Although it hasn't been so much
It
lately.
is. It is.
You know.
But defense Johan Vasquez, Alejandro Mayorga. There's from Leon, I think also. Carlos Gonzalez, they still have him. His old man experience.
They
They
need
still
a
got
they need a goal
Iturbe.
scorer. Pumas I think scored like 15 goals in the entirety of last season. They need someone that can score goals.
Don't be back.
And if they have that,
So
then they have a very legitimate chance of
Carlos Gonzalez. He's got to step up.
making the
Because
exactly.
the really good players like Malcorra is still there. So those two guys
Yeah,
got to step it up, man.
the Liguilla, and they didn't win any of them. And the teams that they lost to were like Juarez. It was Puebla. It was teams that it was definitely a rough way to go. But I do think that if they can find some goal scoring, they have a legitimate chance to at least make the Liguilla. I'm not gonna say that they're gonna win the next 18 titles. I don't want to. I'll leave the huffing and puffing till a little later. But as a surprise team, I think Pumas has a very legitimate chance to be a surprise team. And they, like as Jorge said, they have a good coach, and if they can just get a little hot, hopefully they'll be able to do it.
I'm like scrolling through all the transfers that happened, and man, there was no action, man.
It's
Like
the winter
Ake
transfer market.
joined
There
Mon-
hardly ever is action. It's that's all to plug in holes.
the biggest transfers were from Chivas, and then Monterrey brought in Ake Loba. That was a pretty big transfer. Apart from that, it's just a lot of loans and stuff. So it's really hard to say who's going to be like a surprise, but I will say Chivas loaned out Saldívar to Puebla, so I hope his career gets back on track over there. He's going to be the undisputed starter, I think.
I mean, seriously, why would you
So
loan? I mean, did he piss off somebody that they sent him to
he
Monterrey
must have, man.
where he would never play?
I don't know what happened. Maybe there was.
I mean, you go on loan to get better, right? You can say, well, we can't use you right now, but we can you can get some minutes. So they sent him on loan to sit on the bench for what a whole year.
Yeah, but he won some silverware.
It's ridiculous.
It's like it's funny because like I was watching his shit on Instagram, and he's like that kid in the group project that was just didn't do any work but got an A plus. That was him, bro. He got some silver. Got to the Club World Cup and everything. So, Puebla sold Gavilani to Vancouver. So Saldívar is gonna step in, and hopefully Puebla can do better than last season. They ended in 18th place.
Well,
Only
that's a good move for him and a good move for Puebla to do that. They probably got some
$5 million.
Hey, that's a nice chunk of money.
Apart from that, man, I don't see any team that really made any moves.
Well, it's really no surprise. The winter market is not as active as it is in summer, obviously. So
because there was a lot of deficits. A lot of players are leaving Liga MX. Like I can't even say his name, from Tigres. Lucas, he went to Columbus Crew.
Sort of I mean, they're so stacked though, but that's sort of like a big loss.
Yeah, he was. I mean, he was like he played the Chilindrina role, but he was nowhere near as good as the Chilindrina was. I was thinking about that the last time. One of the last few times that guy came in is like even his advanced career at that, he was still a difference maker. He could still come in and just give you the one moment of magic that you need to have a goal opportunity. You know, whether you score or not doesn't necessarily matter. I mean, obviously you want him to score, but he still generated them at his advanced age, and Serrarian just never came close to. It's kind of like the other guy that they brought in, the Chilean Edu Vargas. Like you guys were already just teaming at the position.
Is he still there?
Need to do it.
He's still there, right?
I'm sure. Yeah, and he's still the starting Chilean forward.
Isn't that crazy? He's only scored 22 goals. That's terrible.
At Tigres?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, he should be in the 40-50 range. But Tigres is a team that, if I'm not mistaken, this is Tuca's last tournament, because I think his contract is up in 2020, which I would assume would be this year. So this is the end of the road for him.
Is he going to retire, or is he going to?
No, he's going to retire.
He's going to go back to Pumas.
God, I wish he would, but no, I believe he's gonna call it quits.
Say we say about Tuca, but man, that guy has been the most consistent coach in the last 10 years in Liga MX.
10. Try like 27. Because before he went to Tigres, he was at Pumas, and he went to 2 finals there. Won 1, lost 1.
Yeah, Ferretti's he's gonna go down as one of the greats in Liga MX history, man.
Well, he was a great
he's
player,
been at,
and he's been a great coach.
But what a color me shocked, but he's been at Tigres since 2010.
Yeah.
So you're telling me if you keep a coach for a long time, I don't know, you get some results, apparently.
No le voy a discutir con usted. Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo tengo que hacer.
Last thing you want to do on this show is to get Tuca mad at you. So you have to. I don't know if you'd heard Tuca on the show yet, Jaime. So Tuca's he's like our bad cop.
I'll always be grateful for Tuca because he the first title that I witnessed for Chivas was under Tuca. 98.
See,
or
I'm
97.
I'm glad that you have a reverence for as a Chiva for Tuca, because most Chiva fans you talk to, like they like Tuca, whatever. But it's like, yeah, I mean he won the and that was the first time he'd ever coached, and he won a title.
And then I remember he got hit by a bottle back of the head when he was our coach. I don't know why. I never forgot that. And then he left. So who's gonna win the goal scoring title?
It'll be Furch.
Puch?
Furch.
Quiroga could.
It's gonna be Giovanni Dos Santos.
And the talk about Jonathan going to America.
Oh God.
That guy's done also.
Jonah, who has, quote, best friends that he takes to the beach. I don't know. I think Jonah he's loving the LA lifestyle, but I mean, this is the same guy that was willing to leave Villarreal to join his brother in LA.
Well, America would be much more of a challenge for him than where he's playing right now. I mean, and it's not like he doesn't have the skills to pull it off. I mean, let's face it. I mean, he is. He it's funny. People always said that Giovanni's great, but his brother's going to end up having the better career, and so far that's actually played out.
Has he had the better career though? Because
I think on a club level, absolutely.
On a club level, yeah, I would say.
And in the national team, what is the one thing that Giovanni can hang his hat on that now his brother's like, yeah? Me too, bro. You know,
I mean, they both scored a goal that won us a Gold Cup, right?
exactly. So, no, I mean, it's I think Yona to Club America would do him, and it would do Mexico an unbelievably that would be a game changer for Mexico if Yona went. Not because of anything else other than the fact that if he could get his lungs to play in that city and to run as much as he does and to play as well as he does, imagine him doing that. You know, being the box to box guy.
How old is he? Because I mean, it's basically Charles Rodriguez's position right now.
Yeah, but Yona is like 28 or 29, so he still has a.
Jonah is 29, so I mean, I don't think we're gonna take him to another World Cup. Maybe, but he won't be the starter.
Dude, why wouldn't you?
Please all hype, man. Don't be hyping Charlie. Don't be getting on that Charlie.
Bro, Charlie is raw as
Dude,
hell. Did you not see him against Liverpool?
Did you honestly believe that a coach of the experience of Tata Martino would for his midfield want to put a proven veteran who can handle anything, or an unproven guy that might do all right?
Unproven. What did you not see the game against Liverpool? Charlie was hanging with him.
Do you see him score an own goal in the final? I mean, anything can happen, dude. And you got to be consistent. That's the key.
Right.
Like we hype all these players. Like all of a sudden they do a season real good. Then they're this is the next signing, and then Chivas goes and signs all these guys.
And
what are they going to do?
The most consistent.
Yeah, but Charlie has been. Charlie benched Jonathan Gonzalez, man. Jonathan Gonzalez was.
Jonathan Gonzalez isn't nothing to be,
I know, but he was we were hyping him up, right? And then he got called up for national duty.
Unjustly so.
And then he lost out to Charlie, and Charlie's had that position at Monterrey, where there's other foreigners. He's not competing with just other Mexicans, but he's proven that he's good to go, man. I give him the stamp of approval for him to get his European contract and go abroad, man. He had his tryout at the Club World Cup. He showed that he can go toe to toe with these dudes, man. And I think
Liverpool was. I mean, they might have been pressed and like maybe going 60 to 70% when they realized that they weren't gonna, just.
I agree. I mean, they weren't going full throttle, but it's just nice to see a player.
But the thing about Jonathan is that Jonathan has been good and consistently good everywhere he's been.
Yeah, but we're talking 3 years from now or 2 years from now, 2022, man.
We don't know what's going to happen in this year. Like, what is he going to show in this year? So yeah, I agree. He should be called up to one of these friendlies and see what he can do, and then he's got to earn his spot. But right now, to say he's going to the World Cup automatically and start, you never know.
In fact,
I do agree that I would like to see Jonah. I
mean, wouldn't you just feel, as a Mexico fan, just feel, Jonathan, the midfield, it's like you don't have to worry about it. You're like, the midfield's gonna be fine. It's like there's who's.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Who's gonna be that makes the dumb pass or whatever it is. And don't get me wrong, he makes bad pass. Occasionally makes an errant pass, but he busts his ass to make up for it.
Yeah. I think if he was to go to America, it wouldn't be the worst thing in the world. Anything's better than LA Galaxy.
Well, I mean, like I said, him there with being able to run in that altitude, I think would be massive. I mean, it would be having him and Herrera in the midfield would be like when they had Torrado and Castro. I mean, I know it doesn't sound sexy, but those guys played together for so long. I mean, the midfield was so good when both those guys, because they had that thing under complete control. And I think that you would get that with Herrera and Jonathan.
Speaking of Herrera, he played 45 minutes. He started today against Barcelona, got subbed out at halftime. They brought in Koke, and Koke scored a goal, and Atletico Madrid ended up beating Barcelona today. So they'll be in the final. Hopefully, Herrera gets some more minutes. But
he
it's
starts
nice to
every
see.
Champions League game, right? Herrera.
Yeah, I mean, he's been getting a lot of minutes now.
So yeah, they rounded him in the shape for this part of the year, because he's starting to, like you said, he's playing a lot more. He's been starting all the Champions League games. This is the Simeone has definitely handled his assimilation into the team pretty well.
It's a tough midfield to crack into, man. But he's shown that he can hang with the big boys.
They are a world top 10 Atletico Madrid. So there's no.
Oh yeah.
It's
Also, not
Joao
to get
Felix is my
to.
favorite player now, man. He's my idol right now.
Who's that?
Joao Felix.
What did he stuck his finger out at Messi, right, or something? What did he do?
He was I don't know what happened. I just saw the clip, but some guy stuck his finger in his face, and he was staring down Messi, staring down and Suarez, and he just bossing everybody.
He said Messi, I'm gonna let you finish, but Cristiano Ronaldo is the best player of all time. Of all time.
Yeah.
And
he
Messi
didn't take
was
anything
like,
from
"What?"
Messi. Dean Suarez and all those dudes. So that was pretty.
And he's been getting criticized like heavily by the fans because he hasn't really panned out for Madrid, Atletico Madrid, and he was quoted recently about how he misses Benfica. So he's had a rough time at Atletico Madrid, but
Well, he's what,
it was nice to see him.
19 years old.
He's young.
Yeah,
He's young, and they spent a lot of money for this kid.
he'll be fine.
Yeah.
See, I mean that's hard.
But,
the way that they did it with him to I mean that would be, you compare that to Messi, who, he played for Barcelona as a teenager, but they gradually built. He was a second half sub, and then he, started the cup match, this and that. So I mean, obviously they had some pretty decent guys on the field at the time, so it made it a little easy. But then you have this kid, and so he's 19, and they just pay, like you said, a huge chunk of money for him, and then make him have these these instant results on this gigantic team.
I mean, look at Pulisic, look at Dembele, look at Chucky Lozano. It's like some of the world breaking records, and none of these guys are really panning out.
Well, Pulisic has gotten a lot better, and Chucky was doing just fine. I think people that had, thought that Chucky was going to score at the same scoring, just obviously doesn't watch Serie A because, Ronaldo had 16 goals last year, and he was like, he probably did
Right.
16 goals in 38 games, Ronaldo. So I mean, if Chucky came anywhere close to like 8 goals, it would have been a great year for him.
Plus, he's not a striker, and
right.
Ancelotti was playing him as a striker. He's a winger. And unfortunately, they got rid of Ancelotti, and Gattuso has said, "You're gonna be on the bench
Gattuso
until further notice."
I think he's cultivating. Chucky could this is like Venom coming out of Spider-Man. What Gattuso is doing with Chucky, he could become a. I expect Chucky to have some better appreciation of the dark arts when he comes back after this season, after the stuff that he's seen over there. So
I hope so, man. Gattuso was a fucking warrior.
He was a master.
He was a warrior.
Yeah, he was a great player.
Yeah,
Just an
he had a lot of passion.
Bulldog.
Got a question though. Going sort of back to the LA Galaxy type topic, and this might be initiated rumor type thing, but Chicharito, the Chicharito rumor to LA Galaxy. If Jonathan leaves, room for money wise for like
a DP, designated player.
Have you guys watched any of his latest Naked Humans? It seemed like when I was watching him earlier, they were buying stuff and putting roots in Sevilla. So I don't think that was
no.
This is any part of the plan.
It's the same media that was Pizarro and Hector Moreno, and that they were going to come in to sign like within the next couple of days. It's the same people putting this propaganda. They're just throwing shit on the wall and see what sticks. But
usually
that rumor is
stuff like this comes from an agent. So,
Mm.
yeah,
Yeah, he's not going anywhere.
Yeah, he's going to Austin, to Sevilla's sister city, which is Austin, in 2021.
Yeah, I mean, as he gets older, those rumors are just going to get stronger and stronger. But he just joined Sevilla. He's not going to be leaving anytime soon. But
Sevilla
it's
is
just
it's a great town.
There's a little part of me that'd be like, what would happen if you see would Salvadorians put on his jersey?
One of life's great
Oh, yeah.
questions. One of life's great questions. Of course they would. Everybody would.
Have their
And
Juventus
that would
jersey
be the
on.
reason
So.
they would bring him over.
Our guy, when you say Sevilla, though, our guy Luis says Madrid is a boring city compared to Barcelona. Kids just want to party in Ibiza. So he's talking about Joao, I think. But that might be the case with that's not the case with Chicharito.
I
He's
can
got family and
confirm.
stuff.
I can confirm with that. I've been to Madrid. I've been to Barca. Madrid is very boring compared to Barcelona.
Well, then compare it to Sevilla. Sevilla's like in the middle of the desert.
Sevilla's in the south, or no? They're in the north, right? North,
No, it's
in
in
the
the
north.
south. It's in the south.
It's near south.
It's right by. It's in.
Nah, man, Sevilla's in the north of Spain.
It's on the coast.
Lucia. It's near south.
Yeah.
Is it?
Really.
Oh, my bad.
accent there.
I was thinking about Bilbao. My bad.
Yeah, no, Bilbao's definitely in the north. Well, but you also mentioned Jaime that.
Oh, they're by like Gibraltar and shit. What? All right. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, like we said, just an awful place to live, Sevilla. You know, who would want to live there, especially when.
I've been there. I've been there for work, and there's some really nice parts. Some really good paella I had over there. But in the outskirts, yeah, it's like all desert and.
Yeah, it's pretty close to
So it looks like Phoenix.
Morocco.
Yeah, the accent they have there, really strong, really, and then Madrid.
Now, one thing that,
As far as other rumors, another rumor that I heard was Piojo Alvarado to either Ajax or Leicester City.
no chance. He's just not good.
Which, I'll be honest, man, I don't really see the hype around this guy, but
he's just not good enough. He's too.
Then again, we've seen players like Massa go abroad and do amazing things. So
Yeah, but Massa had
the more the merrier.
You know, as much people want to knock on Massa, which I frankly would, especially in the latter half of his career. I mean, Massa had the body type. I mean, he became a really good defender. I mean, the Massa that was in Brazil in the World Cup in 2014, saving goals off the line, was so different than the Massa.
Well, yeah, but that was when he was establishing himself in Europe. But when he was at Chivas, people would make fun of him.
Well, he was like 19 years old.
He was a twig, but he went to PSV and man, what a career!
Yeah, anyway, he went to Stuttgart, and then he came back, and he's going to be in the Survivor type show, whatever it's called.
On Telemundo?
Telemundo, yeah.
And that's funny.
The Proletor or whatever it is. I can't tell you what the name of it is. Anyway. He's going to be one of the contestants. Speaking of Guadalajara, that is where they're going to be having the upcoming Olympic qualifying tournament, which is at the end of February and March, early March, and it's going to be in Guadalajara. And they announced the groups today for that tournament. And I found it very interesting that in Group A, Mexico will have Costa Rica, and I believe they'll have the Dominican Republic. And then, if I'm not mistaken, it's going to be the United States is going to be in Mexico's group.
Oh boy. So only one team's gonna make it out
Two
of this group?
two teams make
Two
it,
teams?
two teams make it to the semifinal,
Olympics?
and then the semifinals winners that qualify for the final of the tournament make it to the Olympics. So they're vying for two Olympic spots.
Oh wow. Well, isn't that a shame? Because you would want to have, I don't know, them in separate groups.
Well, yes and no. I would think that this way they can guarantee that both Mexico and the U.S.
Go through.
have an equal chance to make it through to the
Hmm.
as long as they win their group, as long as they both come out. But there's no guarantee they both exit the group because Costa Rica could have something to say about that. Yeah. So the other group is Honduras, Canada. I think that's El Salvador and Haiti.
So it's just two groups?
Two groups, yeah, and then top two qualify for the semis, and then the winners of that game get the Olympic bid, and then they play a final. And the final is essentially for pride, it's
Just
to
bragging rights.
to win the tournament. Yeah, it's the one that doesn't mean
It's going to be in Tokyo.
Yeah, which means it's going to be those awful games where you have to get up at 3 a.m. to watch. So
I think the Olympics has lost its, I don't know, prestige. I mean, it's still respected, but
well, they kind of overdid it with the amount of events that they have, and then they've just totally overdone it with how much they make these host cities, poor, as far as just building all the stuff that they're just never going to use again. So they've started to. The Olympics have realized that, and now they're starting to go to cities that can handle it,
already have established.
and don't have to build that much more to be able to handle the thing. So that's why they're in Tokyo. Then they're going to go to Paris, and then they're going to LA. So at least for the summer, and I think we're seeing that in the Winter Olympics too. I think we're seeing. After this one that they're doing in Beijing, it's going to be, back to where they've had it before for places that already have the existing stuff. I mean, you can't ask these cities to throw down just this ridiculous amount of money.
I mean, look at Brazil.
Well, yeah, exactly. I mean, since 2002, the amount of stadiums that have been built to play World Cup games and the ridiculous specs and requirements that they make these stadiums have that just don't necessarily get used as much anymore. I would hope that the ones in Korea and Japan are being used. Obviously there's some other ones in South Africa and Brazil that just, are just there, parking lots.
Yeah.
Which is unfortunate.
It's crazy. Speaking about stadiums and stuff, they're talking about moving the World Cup out of Qatar to Mexico. I don't know if you heard that.
That's not going to happen anymore. That's
I know it's not going to happen, but apparently all the advertising companies aren't happy about having the World Cup in the winter, and then obviously tensions between the states and the Middle East.
It'll be just fine. It'll be in Qatar, and it'll be in the winter, and then they're going to realize when it's in the winter that it's, who's going to end up liking it more in the winter than in the summer are going to be the players, because they're going to be much fresher. And then the clubs are going to like it. They're going to end up liking it because that way they can, if they have take like the 6-week break, then they're going to have the entirety of the focus, that whole rest of the year that they otherwise wouldn't have in a World Cup year.
It just sounds like a nightmare, and Mexico should be prepared just in case.
But who's it going to be a nightmare for? Are you going?
I mean, I was thinking about going. I'll probably still try and get in, but I don't know, man. I just feel like they should have just gave the bid to the US like they should have been, and We would have been cool.
Yeah, well, that's not what ended up happening, unfortunately. But I don't give any credence to any of the rumors to that. So U.S. and Mexico in the same Olympic group, Jaime. So it looks to me that that's a pretty large indication that they think that they both can get through. Because remember, they
Being
don't
pretty
actually have
optimistic. I
Yeah,
don't know,
but I
man.
bet
The
you
states
Costa
haven't
Rica
really
has something
been.
to say about it, though.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, I would not be surprised if the United States don't qualify.
Yeah, well, it's going to be definitely going to be a big test for them, and it's not going to be that much easier for Mexico either. I mean, it's they are playing at home. That is a big intangible, but that could go both ways for them too. And it's not like they're it's not like they're you know it's a U23 team. You just have no idea what you're going to get. So we'll see how it plays. I will say this though: I think the Mexico fans would want to hope that they have the kind of cycle, not because they won the gold medal in 2012, but the kind of cycle that ended up providing the 2014 World Cup team with some players that came out of nowhere to be on that team because they were on the Olympic team, and the guy who made the most out of it was Hector Herrera, who was like a backup to the backups in Pachuca, and he ended up on the U23 team, and his career just skyrocketed from that point. And Pulido was another one who unfortunately ended up getting hurt. So Mexico fans should hope that they have a good cycle where they can end up, and I'm sure Tata's looking at that too, because this really is going to be the best way to see for him how these players can handle playing someone outside of CONCACAF for his U23 folks, because there will be about, I'm going to guess, between like 5 to 8 guys that are on the U23 that are going to make this upcoming World Cup squad. So it's definitely an important gauge to see how they do in the qualifying, and then how they actually do if they do make it to the Olympics, because they will play, one would expect, some better competition.
This is like it's in March.
So
That might be a good road trip.
In March. Oh, down in Guadalajara.
Yeah.
Are you gonna go, Chiquis?
I don't know. It sounds like because you get to see a Mexico versus U.S. on the 20th. You get to see Mexico 3 days later, and then against Dominican 3 more days. So you could watch 3 Mexico games in a week. And spend time there, like do a vacation.
What's the dates? The 20th?
3rd and the 26th of March.
And
that's the group stage. And then you got 30 March and 1 April.
Oh, so it's end of March and then April. Okay. I thought it was February. So that's gonna be right toward the end of the season for Liga MX. So there's no way in hell they're gonna give away players to play that.
We'll be on match day. We'll be on match day 11, so we'll be
right in the thick of it.
Right in the thick of it. That's why, man.
So do you think JJ Mack?
This better not disrupt Chivas' title run.
Oh man, this is exactly what's going to happen. I can already see it now. Chivas is going to be in first place. They're going to have like some crazy.
They're going to poach everybody.
Like 27 points or whatever it is. Some high 20s, and then this tournament comes. They're going to take a good chunk of their players away on the U23, and then they just stumble and fall, end up like the 3 seed and lose the first round to
it wouldn't be the first time. I'm still salty about the Libertadores, man. We could have won that shit.
So I see that someone has joined us, if I'm not mistaken.
It's
is it the Penta Pichichi himself?
final.
Uy, 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 uy. ¿Qué pasó, cabrones?
So I guess
Word, dude.
that would be correct. It is the Penta Pichichi himself who joined us from.
Look, guys, for all intents and purposes, I just want to be clear here that I'm just here for the Bud Light.
Oh yeah, and that's
I will be at the Leon game, Leon versus MLS FC, February 18th. I will be rooting for the Esmeraldas, of course, and then I'll be at the return leg in LA at the Bank of California, cheering on Carlos Vela.
Who? Carlos who? I don't know that name.
Oh, so he's going to the goal. That's actually that's coming up. Those are going to be very interesting too. Something we will need to keep an eye on. Now we did say we're going to do predictions, and it's a shame that that Joel left us because I wanted to hear his proclamation that Chivas is gonna win the title, 2 titles apparently. So let's just mark that down for Joel. So I will ask you, Jaime, what predictions do you have for
Chivas?
for Liga
Or for-
MX? Who are the Liga MX champions?
All right, so this is my prediction. I expect Chivas to make the Copa MX final and win it, and then finally make Liguilla after
Like
5-6
15
seasons.
15 years.
Yeah.
Made the Liguilla. It was
And
84 years ago. So, go ahead.
I'm not gonna lie. I don't know if we'll get it done in this season, but I know by the end of 2020 we'll be in a league final against America
Wow.
for the TV ratings. Which, by the way, Chivas don't have a U.S. contract, so everything will be on YouTube.
How on earth can they not have a U.S. contract?
The only thing Chivas has going for themselves is Norma Palafox. Nálgame Dios.
Ay!
What the
Y usted no.
exactly, man?
Ay, mamacita.
Sanchez had to be the poster.
Ugh.
What's your prediction then, Jaime? Are you done? Or you
Yeah, so Copa MX final for Chivas, and then Liguilla for Chivas. I'll leave it at that, and then top goal scorer is gonna be either Funes Mori or JJ Mack.
Who did you say was going to win
what was that?
Liga MX?
Jansen.
I'm just gonna leave it at Chivas making Liguilla. As far as the champion,
Come on.
I don't want to jinx it. But we're going for everything this year. That is a guarantee.
So do you think that by you saying that out loud, that somehow that's going to like cast some spell over the team that's going to cause them to not win? To not win. So you're saying Chivas. You're saying Chivas is going to win Copa y Liga. Se queda en Guadalajara is what you're saying. Regresa a su casa is what you're saying.
Yeah, absolutely. The amount of money that we invested into the team, and the way Peláez is talking about the team and getting the players all hyped up, it's championship or bust this year.
All right.
So you mean to tell me you're going from fighting for el descenso, el porcentaje, to championship or bust? No, hombre, pinche expectativa.
Yeah, and that's just how it is because of the players that they brought in. If it was the same players from last season, we're screwed. But no, there's actually some optimism this year. They actually shown that they're serious about bringing some silverware.
I'd expect that from you, I guess. I pretty much said the same thing. If I'm not wrong. It's sort of surprising though. I'm surprised to hear Joel say that Chivas is going for the title as well.
He said though. I think the words that came out of his mouth, Chiqui, so I'm not mistaken, were doblete. Joel Aceves, who is like the most anti Chiva hermano I think there is on this planet. You know, he's like
Only going to get back in the graces of his other Chiva hermanos.
if a Chivas fan was Superman, then the anti Chivas fan is Bizarro. Joel is the Bizarro of Chivas. Even he said that Chivas was going to win not once but twice this season. So
But to me,
go ahead.
To me, it makes sense. The reason why is because no other team in the league really made an effort to sign players this offseason. And you got teams coming on a high that are going to go low, like America and Monterrey. They didn't have much of a break between the final and now. So it's, if there was a time to do it, it'd be this season.
Yeah, so you're admitting then that Monterrey and America are both better than Chivas, and to get this gigantic head start over them is the only way that Chivas can win a title. I believe is what.
I think it's definitely going to factor into our advantage.
Well,
like you're not going to see those teams in shape until 6-7 fixtures in, and by that time, Chivas will be flying high.
I like my teams to win titles where they play the absolute best possible team they can play. Bring it on. Let's beat you. We beat you. We beat you. That to me.
Yeah, but that's not how Liguilla goes.
Well, you got to play who's in front of you. Now, I do want to ask our guest Hugo Sanchez, who has graciously joined us here. Hugo, if you met a girl and you ask her to say something in Spanish, and this is the first thing she says, would she be a keeper?
Que chingue a su madre en America.
Is that the kind of woman is that the kind of woman you take home to mom?
Simón que sí. Let me just give you my quick prediction here. Tabla general, leader will be Santos Laguna. Final four will be Santos Laguna, America, Rayados, and Chivas. I believe, unfortunately, America is going to pull something out of their ass because whenever Chivas does well, America seems to be granted a gift from the gods or the refs. I believe goleador del torneo will be Jensen with Funes Mori, and I'll go with Macias just to have a roundabout.
That was quite a healthy prediction there from Hugo Sanchez. So saying America is going to, and I'm quoting here, pull something out of their ass to win the title, because se alzan cuando se alza su rival. Is well, thank you for that, Hugo, and I'm glad to get some clarification on some sociology experiments that we occasionally like to run here on the Cantina MX podcast. Chiquis, your predictions.
I'm gonna say America wins the championship. I sort of last. Oh, Santos, yeah, no Tigres. I had the pressure on last season. They got to the final, and I guess could have won, but since they at least got there, there's some forgiveness there. But I think this season, it's a must. Like, even I know Jaime just said it's a must for Chivas with all these signings. I think it's a must for America. Yes, they want that 14th. What did they do? They whistled or turned on their lights during the 14th minute in Azteca. So they're hungry for that 14th. I think that the demand is there, and they're going to have to deliver. So the pressure, I think, is even more so for America. As far as goal scorer, and Funes Mori and Toro Jansen. Or the other's gonna, and if they're gonna be sharing minutes.
When did he become El Toro?
Oh,
when did he become El Toro?
What happened?
El Toro Jansen.
Dude, Jansen looks so happy. He was having the time of his life.
Going to be one or the other, and they're going to be sharing minutes. So I think both of them are going to have lower end goals. So I believe if Necaxa can keep it up, Quiroga might.
Necaxa lost 3 players, bro. They ain't going anywhere.
Oh yeah, I'm talking goal scorer for Quiroga. And yeah, that was it, right? Was there anything else?
No, I think you've covered all your bases there. I'm going to predict that Tigres wins the title. If it turns out that it's Tuca's last run, I can't think of a better way for him to go out. And the fact that they did so poorly in in the first round of this last Liga, losing to America at home the way they did, I think is going to give them the motivation they need to come back and play very well in the upcoming, not just this, but also in the Coca Champions. And I think they're going to do really well in both. So it wouldn't shock me if they win both. Tigres and
Will's on the chat. He agrees. Tigres is going to.
See, that's a very smart man right there.
I would replace America with Tigres as far as I think Tigres for sure are going to be a contender.
Yeah. So especially if it's Tuca's last season, there's just
As long as they have Gignac, I'll always give them a puncher's chance, man. He is lethal.
And he's particularly lethal in the Liguilla. I mean honestly, but before Salcedo did that ridiculous penalty that ended up costing Tigres there at the end, it was a penalty. Don't get me wrong, but just the way that he, I mean just what do you? I mean, fouls you can understand. Sometimes you have to take a risk, and a guy's going to shoot, and you're like, well, if I, sometimes you have to eat it. We get that, but I mean, to do what he did, just some ridiculous.
Oh, he threw the game away.
Yeah, exactly.
Salcedo threw the game away.
I mean, honestly, before that happened, I'm sure most fans were like, Gignac is, because he'd already gotten one back. You knew he was going to get the other one back. I mean, you just knew it was going to happen before Salcedo did that. So yeah, Gignac is definitely a guy who, he's got the espinita clavada too. I mean, don't think that he that doesn't want to, especially if it's Tuca's last year, like I said, doesn't want to, go out with a blaze of glory for Tuca, because he's been there for 5 years, Gignac, and he's played really well, consistently well in those 5 years. He's been a really good addition to Liga MX, and he's definitely proving himself for sure to be one of the all-time greats in Liga MX. Good for him.
It's like shades of Cardoso, just one of those players that have just dominated the league.
Yeah, I agree. Not to the extent of the amount of goal scoring, but yes, I mean Cardoso was. I mean, and anybody that got to watch those Toluca teams, man, those were fun to watch. Holy smokes! I mean, that's
Nothing comes to mind. I wonder. Or go ahead.
Carlos Pavón, ¿qué?
Carlos Pavón, he was, yeah, why not?
No le voy a discutir.
Carlos Pavón se cansó de meter goles en la Liga Mexicana.
Y usted no me va a decir qué carajo tengo que hacer.
Do we have some Hondureños in the chat right now? What's happening?
No, I'm actually, that's what he said, and that's what Medford said and Costly, but to tell you the truth, I can't stand those dipshits. The team anyway.
I was going to ask, like, something that came up when you said Cardoso. I wonder if, if Gignac stays with, with his love with Mexico and everything. If he stays in Mexico, what if he ends up taking a coaching gig down the road, being a resident? What his thoughts of that is, but that'd be sort of interesting. If he returns to France, or if he
became the next Tuca.
I don't know. Is he a coaching type? I don't think so.
His playing days, and if we asked that same question, we would have all said, hell no.
That's true.
It's funny. I was thinking about that Toros Neza team. Holy crap.
Oh, man. Stacked.
I mean, that team was...
Piojo.
Talk about a charm team.
They had Boniris, Turco.
Wasn't Pablo Larios the goalie?
Yeah, they had a lot of good players, and then they just disappeared forever. The team, I mean.
And of course, and who did they lose to in the league in the final?
They got an ass whooping by Gusano Nápoles. Scored 4 goals that day.
Yeah, do you remember each of them? As if you scored them yourself. Have you had dreams of those goals?
Bring that back.
Have you had dreams of those goals?
I just remember the worm, and I always wanted to do the worm when I was a kid.
Anyway, so I think Tigres wins the league and the Conca Champions. Top goal scorer. I think it's just too hard to make a pick, but I'll just say Furch just because I'm pretty sure he'll be there. And I do think that Mexico will qualify for the Olympics, and it's going to be a really, really, really good test for some young players. They have a huge opportunity ahead of them to see if they have what it takes to make the jump to the national team. And like we said, I mean, if they can get an Hector Herrera out of the deal for the next, to have a guy that's an unbelievably solid player for the next 8 years, then let's make that happen for these for one of these guys. So hopefully that'll be the case. And so we touched on Chicharito. We touched on the Liga MX, and we made our predictions. And of course, Joel said earlier that Chivas va a ganar el doblete. I'm not sure what doblete he was talking about, but he did say that the Chivas comment is gonna stick around for a bit. It'll be seen throughout the year as Chivas dominates the league as they never have or haven't done in quite a while. We'll see how it plays out.
Doblete o doblado?
He may have said doblado. He may have said doblado. I'm not gonna lie.
He said Copa MX and then the title. He said Copa MX because he said it's almost a given, Copa MX.
Oh, that's right. That was pan
Weak bracket.
Yeah, that was already in the belly, I believe. Is what he said. And it's we'll see how that plays out. It's going to be a very exciting season of Liga MX play that starts tomorrow with the match that everyone wants to see, Tijuana and Santos, and then the matches are sprinkled around Saturday and Sunday. As
the league officially starts on Saturday with Chivas versus Juarez at 5:00 Pacific time. That is when the league officially starts, and you guys are gonna watch it for free on YouTube.
Well, the league starts on Friday. There's actually 2 matches.
Oh,
plays Toluca too.
No, I mean that was a joke.
Well, apparently
up until
not a very good one, my friend. You need to step up your game.
I'm just saying, like, sure, there might be other games, but the game that you want to see and the game that's going to set the tone for the season starts on Saturday at 5:00 in Guadalajara,
in front of about 9,000 adoring fans. So America and Rayados aren't even playing. America plays on Monday, and Rayados doesn't play at all.
Really?
That's very
What
interesting.
the hell?
Yeah. Well, I guess they're the team that gets the bye because of Veracruz not being there. Actually, it doesn't look like
Wait, no, but there's an even amount of teams now.
It doesn't look like Necaxa plays either, so that game must.
I'm a rest. Necaxa and Puebla don't play. Yeah, so the Puebla and America and Necaxa and Monterrey, they play on February 4th and February 5th.
Oh,
that's their jornada uno.
Well,
it doesn't play until the 18th as well. Monterrey, so they get a break.
They get an extra week of. It's actually pretty smart, I think. Makes sense.
Well, there is no. I mean, there probably could be like a little transition for them to get back into the groove, but I think there's no disadvantage for those two. I think they're still going to be pretty strong. Monterrey could very well destroy Chivas' chances in Copa MX if they don't get destroyed by Morelia or whoever else is in their bracket.
All right. Well, this has been fun. It's been a while. I wish, I'm not gonna lie, I wish it was easier to do this when I'm on the road, because I'm on the road a lot. But I mean, you have to look like there's like 5 hoops you have to jump through to make this thing work for us, which is unfortunate. So hopefully we'll get to do more of these podcasts in the tournament. I mean, definitely, I know I can be available much more after basketball lets out for sure. So that'll be right when things are hopefully getting good with Liga MX and everything else. You know, we should also before we say goodnight here, because there is in addition to the Olympics, there's another little tournament that's being played. It's the Eurocopa, and they have a different format where they're playing it in a bunch of countries. So it's going to be, and then they're going to play the final, if I'm not mistaken, in Wembley. So, is there anybody have any predictions as to what's going to happen in the Eurocopa? Who's going to win it?
The Euro?
Yeah.
I mean, France is still going to be the strongest team, I think.
All right, Chiquis, any thoughts? Or does Eurocopa take a seat to the Copa MX? So I can't watch the Italy France game. I got the Copa MX final on tonight. Sorry, boys.
I'm definitely excited for Euro. I want to default to the Germans.
Yeah, you know, I was thinking the same thing myself because I mean it is in England, and they tend to play very well when they go over there. So
let's Google the Coca-Cola FIFA rankings right now.
Oh, dude,
because they're so accurate. We have Belgium in number 1, France, Brazil, England, Uruguay, Croatia, Portugal, Spain, Argentina, Colombia.
I got the groups up, so.
And then Mexico.
There is one group that is just awful, and I mean, just ridiculously hard. It's like France, Italy, Holland, and it's just insane.
Actually, Group F: Portugal, France, Germany. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, and see, and that happened because Germany was bumped. They were relegated into the second pot. So yeah, it's going to be, but it's 24 teams, so it's like some third place teams can get into. So I wouldn't expect, England. Is this finally their time? It's gonna be that. I think that's going to be they're going to be the team that has the most pressure. I think. Yeah, I think people see them as a favorite. The finals in England. So
I could see that.
Can they handle the pressure?
Wait, so is the whole tournament being rotated, or is it all the UK?
They are playing.
Oh wow, they're playing in like a bunch of stadiums.
Yeah.
Munich, Rome, Budapest. Why are they doing that? That's weird.
They want to give everyone a piece.
Looks like a traveling nightmare. But then again, Europe is pretty small.
Personally, I would love the Gold Cup a lot more. I think it'd be a lot more competitive if they did a home game and an away. If you had to play a home game and an away game, so if everyone got a home game and then had to go on the road before coming to the U.S. to play the rest of the tournament, I think it'd be a lot more interesting. It'd be a lot more interesting.
Yeah, but money talks, man.
Well, at some point, they need to put the competition over the money. I mean, I get trying to build it, but I mean, if you want to build it, you have to let these teams have to have a chance. They have to get a chance to play, and they have to get a chance to play on their on their terms, on their field. They can't always just go to play in Charlotte or in Denver. It's the only way it's going to grow.
Millions is millions, man.
But it's the only way it's going to grow. Do they want it to grow? Or do they just want to line their pockets?
I think they want to line up their pockets. And plus, it's CONCACAF. I mean, even if they do that, how competitive can it really be? Unless they invite a Brazil or something like that.
How competitive can it be? Well,
yeah, I mean, the region here in North America it's not as competitive as South America or Europe. and
Well, I get that,
it's not good.
and how do you want to make that less competitive, or do you want to make that more competitive?
The only way you can make it more competitive is if you, I don't know. There's a lot that goes into it.
Right.
But
I
having a game
understand
in
that.
Costa Rica and then having one in, I don't know, Jamaica, versus just having the entire tournament in the
I
United States.
think that the
Yeah, but that's what qualifiers are for.
but that's my point, is that it shouldn't just be qualifiers. I mean, why can't they have Gold Cup games in those countries?
Because you can sell out a, I don't know, Los Angeles stadium for a lot more money
No,
than you could in.
and believe me, I understand that. But again, so that's the question. I mean, is it just all this lip service that you're paying to try and make the confederation more competitive? Because that's what makes it more competitive. Confidence makes it more competitive. Teams are a lot more confident when they're at home. Plus, it helps. It helps the other.
It would be
teams
nice
too,
to
man.
just.
It helps the other teams too.
I like the Gold Cup in 2003 because we invited Brazil that year, and Mexico hosted the whole tournament.
Well, they didn't actually.
That was a pretty
the
good.
U.S. played all their games in the U.S., but
Oh, they did.
oh yeah.
Oh,
Anyway, so I mean, if they just pay lip service to want to be competitive and play all their games in the U.S., that to me that's it's a little disingenuous, in my opinion.
it would be cool to see the entire tournament in Canada, though.
Yeah, but I mean, that's the other thing is that there's only 3 countries that can handle doing an entire Gold Cup. But the reality is, Haiti playing Nicaragua in Aguascalientes is just not going to draw very many people. But Haiti playing Nicaragua in Port-au-Prince is going to draw 40,000 people. So
Yeah, I think it's something to consider.
right. Oh, looks like we've lost. Everyone has fallen off. Jaime, so I guess probably
I think we should wrap it up.
to sign off as well. But it is good to be back on, and we want to thank Joel Aceves and Albert Campa for hopping on, Hugo Sanchez for coming on and interjecting, albeit with a little bit of a blue tone. But we do appreciate coming on, and of course Jaime Landeros as well. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.
My name is John Jagu, and we appreciate y'all joining us here in the Cantina MX podcast. It is 2020. We do hope to be on with you guys more in the upcoming year, and I know that'll definitely be the case in the spring, later in the spring as well, at least on my behalf. But we do appreciate your patronage as always, and thank you guys for listening. We will talk to you guys again. Thank you very much.